Internet, welcome to Lucie Does Things. I'm Lucie, and today I'm going to be making a dress. Well, I'm going to start making a dress. I anticipate that actually making the dress will take several episodes. But today I'm going to talk about the pattern and the style and fabric that I'm going to be using. So I'm actually not going to be using a pattern per se for this. I'm going to be using strips of fabric. So here's a sketch that I'm going to be working off of. As you can see, two different colors. One's going to be dark red, one's going to be teal. It's going to have a belt, shoulder straps, elastic right at the top and at the waist. It's probably going to be around knee length, maybe a little tiny bit shorter. Alright, so the fabrics that I'm going to be using are a little bit unorthodox. I have two sheets, one flat, one fitted, and I need to get rid of them because they are taking up a lot of room in my sewing basket. So I've got this flat sheet, which is a nice dark red color, and then I have this teal color, which is reading as sort of blue, but it's teal, I promise. And this was a full-size fitted sheet, and so to salvage the material, I cut around the outside where the elastic was, and it ended up having two tabs, like where the folds were, so that became two separate pieces. And then I have a big piece. So if you're following along at home, you're going to need a few measurements. Since this dress isn't going to have a zipper or buttons, you're going to want to have enough give so that you can get into the dress. So according to the internet, you're going to need something that's a few inches wider than the widest part of your body. And for me, that is my lower hip measurement. That's 40 inches. So I'm going to be making the dress 45 inches at the waist. Other measurements that you will need are from your underarm to your waist. For me, that's 12 inches. From your waist to your knee, or however long you want your dress to be, that's 24 for me. You'll need to know around your arm, so the strap length. For me, that is 14 inches. And you'll also need to decide how wide the dress is going to be at the hem. So you can make this a nice, wide, flowy skirt. I want it to be a little bit narrower. You can make it as wide as you like, but it needs to be at least the widest part of your body and a half. So for me, that is 60 inches. So let's talk about pattern pieces. So for this dress, you'll need 4 pattern pieces: the top, skirt, belt, and shoulder strap. When you're measuring the pattern pieces, don't forget to include a seam allowance. Most factory patterns have a 5/8 inch seam allowance, but I usually just do a 1/2 inch to make the math easier. That means that whatever size each pattern piece would be, I'll add 1 inch to the length and width, so it'll be sewn over to create the right measurement once the dress is finished. And that'll make more sense when I'm actually sewing. You'll need to decide also how wide you want each strip to be. I'm going with 3 inches on top and 4 inches on the bottom, and it will all line up when it's gathered with sewing. That means I'll have 15 strips total for the body of the dress, 7 of one color, 8 of another. For the shoulder strap and the belt, I'm going to do 1.5 inches wide, so they'll be relatively thin. And as you can see, all of these measurements are including the seam allowance. And again, this will all make more sense when I'm actually cutting out the pieces and when I'm sewing. So I think that's it for this first ever episode of Lucie Does Things. So tune in sometime in the next few days to see how I am progressing with cutting out all of the pattern pieces and sewing and putting together this dress. Goodbye, Internet.